what we've got here is we're going to do the leg raise and we're going to do internal and external circumductions, okay? Now, the hip girdle is interesting like the shoulder. You've got a certain excursion range that is, well, what you could call normal, but the important point about this is not the range so much as the quality of the circumduction circle, okay? And what I'm going to look at and what I would advocate is a useful way to address these issues with hip girdle is to actually look at how, if you just lift your leg, keeping the vertical on the big toe, yeah, and now you're going to go out to the side, keeping the big toe vertical, that's it, lovely, and round. Now, if you have a look at where the abs even kick in this, yeah, they're quite different as they're trying to balance that movement. Just do that one more time with that leg, okay?
When you say big toe vertical,
well, it's just because the hip girdle on this side, we know it's a little bit stiffer, is trying to actually relieve tension by externally rotating. Right. So okay. I'm actually making him, if he can do it, and it depends how stiff and how his hip is, but if he can mechanically do this, we're going to maximise his potential. If there's a joint issue, then that may be something else.
So from a therapist's point of view, what we're saying is don't externally rotate the hip.
Indeed, if you can help it. Yeah. Okay, so again, just try that again. Up and out, keep going, keep going. Nice circular circle if you're able. Now, what you'll tend to trace here is you get a hexagon, or you get a triangle, or you get some other shape to the base of that cone, which isn't the cone. So you end up with a very different shape, and that's actually quite easy because that actually helps me work out where we need to treat to recruit the muscles more completely to get a better arc, okay?
So, to me, it looked a little bit as though Charlie was a bit wobbly coming back to the starting position. What's that telling you?
Well, he's carrying the weight on the front of the leg. If you watch also the abs, whether they twitch and how they're working, which ones are recruiting, if we compare that to the other side, so the same up and out, and just have a little look at the other side, that's actually quite a different circle, just without the external rotation. Yeah, it's fine. And we're using terms, but we went through this just once before, but so that's actually limited in range, but a better circle. Yeah. And what we then compare is how the muscles recruit, and you felt that Less abs. Right, okay. So if you could now recruit everything in the opposite direction, yeah, and it's quite weird in terms of gait and how people walk. This is almost simulating the way, in a sense, you might recruit muscles for walking. And just compare that just one more time on that side. Okay, and what you then do, again, the muscles are struggling up here quite a lot and down, and now do the same leg in the opposite direction. So you're going to up and out. Yeah, so we're going to get that. Sorry, no, the same. Sorry, just so we can see, because I think yeah, okay, okay, just bring that in, yeah, and round. Okay, so let's do, yeah. Okay, now we can see how much roll is happening in the torso as well. Absolutely. Yeah, so if you just put the arms in the air, just to amplify that a little bit, yeah, and try and do the same with the leg, same leg, right leg, yeah. Okay, and you can see how much rotation is coming through here, quite a lot to achieve that movement. And if we go the same leg, but the opposite direction. Big toe in a bit, yeah, this way, that's it. And is that an easier option than the other way around? Which is the...
I would say so. The leg feels heavy on the descent.
Right, okay, so just try this leg again, arms up and straight if you can. Yeah, in both directions. So, going to go up, keeping the big toe in, yeah. A big roll there, yeah, and down again, and again controlled, and try the opposite direction. Okay, so we can start to see also how much lumbar engagement there is as well, yeah, so we can even palpate the difference, and you can feel how much roll there is and how that feels. Absolutely. So how did it feel to you?
It felt to me like the glute med on the almost upstroke on the second time round was activating a lot more than coming back down.
Than it had back down, yeah.
The leg feels heavier on an upstroke than it does
on the downstroke. Okay, so as the muscle is what I'm calling decontracting, the control of decontraction is an active process, and actually it's finding that really difficult. A lot of people...
Is that what we call eccentric contraction?
No, in fact. Well, yes, I suppose it is because it's got the loading and it's actually gradually letting it go. So that control is not ideal. So with the way you may be striding and running, we could watch a running machine, but the problem with running machines, as you I'm sure have all seen how they work, it's a few minutes on a running machine, not at a point of fatigue. Okay, so if I watched you at 10k on a running machine, that would be a totally different argument than watching someone after 5 minutes on a running machine, especially if they're fit and can run 10k. Yeah. So a lot of the inferences that are made for sports use can actually be made on a very short observation of someone who isn't fatigued yet. Okay, so the fatigue patterns are part of what we're looking at here. How do you control the muscles? How do you fatigue in certain cycles of movement? And that's very telling in sports people that I treat. and very useful to actually work out how to give them remedial exercise or what to treat. So, yeah, I mean, Charlie can actually correct them because he's got the strength if we kind of get the mind and body engaged properly, and that's a useful training. People who are much stiffer or have got pathologies in joints, that becomes much harder for them to recruit, and we think of different ways of approaching things.
Is it worth, just a quick question, is it worth doing the exercises after the training to recruit the tired muscle groups?
On the days off is when I'd be doing it.
On the days off.
Yeah, this would be remedial. This would be the sort of thing that you'd be doing on a day off. Okay. Yeah, when you're not exercising, properly. It might mix well with swimming and other off-weight bearing exercise.
Okay.
Bear in mind the compression in this is nil because you're lying down, and that's why it's very therapeutic and useful because it's not like doing loads of squats or doing heavy weight bearing exercise, which just provokes things.
So the obvious question is then, how many times, how often?
Well, in terms of reps, you're going to look at the quality deterioration. So what I look at is left and right, work out whether in or out is the most useful. If looking mostly whether the actual circumduction is irregular, and it could be the two legs are going in two different directions when you do it, not at the same time. So one may be internal, one may be external to achieve that change in balance of muscles. And you can do them till you begin to fatigue, but you're not losing quality. So really the number of reps we would go through and say, well, if it's 20 or 15, once you start deviating from quality, then there's no point doing more.
And your average non-sporting patient will recognise when that quality is disappearing, will they?
Yes. Well, part of the dialogue is training someone to understand the process, and that's what I enjoy. That's what stimulates me to do what I do, really.
Yeah, sure.